Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. In today's video, I'm going to show you some newly found information. The DoorDash delivery that Xanakernodal received was at 3:59. And if we marry that up with the information that we just discovered on the movements of the Elantra and that I'm making an animated video on, you'll find it quite interesting. So the thing is I'm working on the animation. Route number 3 is an absolute monster, the pass number 3, because before it even makes pass number 3, the vehicle is just moving all around, and there's times where the vehicle just sort of stops or disappears, and I just kind of guess where that is, and I have to just fill the time in. I just have the vehicle pull over somewhere, and then it drives back. But it's definitely the same vehicle because they track it back behind 500 Queen Road, etc. Okay, but regarding this video, we see in the new information DoorDash records for Xanakernodal and Ethan Chapin. Hard drive provided on April 5th, 2023. These documents are maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the documents pursuant to IRE 8036. The state may rely on the attached records, State's Exhibit S9, from DoorDash regarding delivery to 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022 at 3:59. So I guess if we go up here and search for S9, should have one more occurrence, and this is it right here, I guess. So it's all completely redacted. Let's see what happens if we rotate it around and can see the one line in here. Hold on. I actually didn't do this on the show yesterday, so this might have specific information. It even has GPS coordinates. That's pretty amazing. And the time is, it says right at 3:59. And now that we can see these GPS coordinates, why don't we live, as I'm making this video, put this in. So let me just make sure, if I just open up one pin here and I right click on it in Google Earth, it'll actually start off with the coordinates. So it's 46, because that's one number I couldn't make out for certain right there. Let's see. So we go up here and go 46.721. Man, that's tough. Like maybe 8033 comma and then negative 117.0107857. Let's see where that goes. Oh wow, look at that, you guys. I mean, it literally goes to the house right here. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. So the GPS coordinates goes right to the house. I couldn't make out if that said 8033, could say 00. Let's just see if I change that to a 0. Yeah, it actually might say 8 because it put it right on that house. Now it's over here. Let's see, let me try 6. 7 2. No, that was the wrong one. Hold on. 721, and then up here it says negative 17.17. Okay, so then 721, and let's say that was a 6, because it could be a 6 as well. Okay, that puts it a little bit too far down here, so that really looks like it is a 8. But what if it's a 9? I guess it's so blurry you can't tell. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Watch. Let's zoom in. I'm going to scroll over so you can see it. It's just this little tiny sliver here. Right there. 721 It looks like 8033 right here, this portion. So if you guys feel like you know what that is in the comments section, put that in there. But it looks like 721, and then perhaps 8030, something like that. So let's try that. 8030. Okay, so it puts it right on the house. So that's where the DoorDash delivered the meal. But it's interesting that it's actually showing that the delivery of the DoorDash was at the back of the house. Isn't that interesting? I mean, if that is absolutely accurate, that it was delivered at the back porch, and perhaps that's why Xana went to the kitchen, and maybe she was in the kitchen and put the DoorDash bag down after she saw somebody coming down the hill, and then ran back around and then was chased down near the room and taken out. Now that is absolutely crazy. If this is precisely accurate, that the DoorDash delivery was made at the back porch, that sort of changes what may have gone on inside that house, because the DoorDash delivery was placed there, for example, at 3:59. It doesn't mean that Xana went and picked it up at 3:59. So now let's take a look at what Bryan Kohberger in his white 2015 Elantra was doing at the time the DoorDash was there. So you can see right here at 3:58:23, a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 travels west on Queen Road and turns north onto King Road. And this is when it's leaving. So after it came around and parked here, it goes this direction and then is leaving right like this at 8:23. And then the DoorDash driver is probably coming down the road right here at that time. All right, and then they turn into here probably at like 3:58 and 46 seconds or something, come around like this. And they may have even been there earlier, because if the DoorDash was dropped off right here at 3:59, then they would have had to park at around 3:58:40 or so, and then walked around and put the delivery here and then walked back to the car. So it could be that Kohberger basically passed the other vehicle or saw the vehicle just as he's turning here. The vehicle's coming like this, and then he slowly drives around up here, because at 3:59:04 his headlights are seen traveling south on Walenta Drive behind this building. So it would be right here, and that's at 3:59:04. And then after seeing the vehicle pull in there, he's getting antsy. So he's going this direction, and he must do a U-turn down here. And he came back because at 4 a.m. he is heading this direction again and is spotted right here going this direction. And now he doesn't want to pull in here because he doesn't want that vehicle to see him. So he drives up here, and then he goes this direction all the way around, and then passes the 11225 Ridge Road camera going this direction, and that's where they get that amazing photograph of the vehicle missing its front license plate. You can absolutely tell it's a white Elantra. And then it's going this direction, comes around, and then he makes his way all the way back up, but he does it kind of slowly. Right, so at 4:04 and 20 seconds, that's when you can see the vehicle driving here again. So once he saw that DoorDash there, he probably said, I need to wait for them to be gone. So waited somewhere back here, and then drove by right here, and the DoorDash driver is likely gone at this point. So then at 4:04:20 he pulls in like this, takes a left, and then makes his way back behind 500 Queen Road. This is where he does the 3-point turn and then heads back out this direction, and then does a U-turn here. He's checking again. He wants to make sure, because he knows something was delivered to that house, and he's checking the lights. It changed how he was going to do things. And then he went back this way. Now he's in a hurry. And he goes around like this, and at about 4:07 and 28 seconds, the vehicle comes right around there, and then at 4:07:47, the headlights flash over here onto this building, and that's when the vehicle stops behind the 1122 King Road address, and then takes off again at 4:20 and 47 seconds, which is about almost 13 minutes later. So you got to figure that after he got out of his vehicle at 4:07, well, it wasn't 4:07 and 47 seconds, he was still moving. So he likely parked at about 4:08, and then probably spent a minute or two getting the blood spatter mitigation ready for after he returns to the vehicle. Then he enters the house, I would say right around 4:10, and then kills all 4 people in the house, and then exits the house at about 4:17 to 4:18, and that's when he applies his blood spatter mitigation, and then he heads off about 3 minutes after he left the house at 4:20 and 47 seconds. And he's leaving at a high rate of speed, and that's where he comes out like this and then heads out onto Conestoga and then Palouse River Drive. So he comes like this around and then heads off this direction and then down this highway right here. So man, that's crazy that the DoorDash GPS coordinates land on the back porch of the 1122 King Road address. And it seems very specific because if I put in any other numbers there, let's just experiment with it a little bit more. If I put in a 5, what does that do? Okay, so you can tell it's going this direction, and so a 9 might be interesting. Let's put a 9 there. Okay, so if that is a 9, that puts it right at the front door basically. And then let's say that's a 3. That last number doesn't really change it much. All right, so I guess if it's an 8, it's at the back porch. If it's a 9, it is at the front of the house. And I guess we'll have to take a look at this one more time now. That doesn't look like a 9 though. This last number might be though. 39. That's crazy. These look all pretty readable. 0107857. That 8 looks very similar to that number, doesn't it? That 8 there. Let's see if there's a 9 somewhere else in this line, and I don't see one. 83840. I think there's one here. That's a 9 right there. 9. So does that look like that? Just doing a little investigations, as I do on Grant Hughes Investigates. Man, I think that's actually an 8. You know, it looks like the other 8s that we have. It's hard to say. It's definitely not a 6 because that puts it away from the house. And there's some 6s there. That could be an 8 right there. That 17668 there. Wow. Really interesting. I didn't notice that on the show last night. So there's this little line in here that has specific information. It has precisely at 3:59. And it appears that the DoorDash delivery may have been made to the back porch. And maybe because Xana's on the 2nd floor, she just said, yeah, just bring it around the back and put it next to our back porch. And she went back and picked it up there. I don't know, you guys. I think that's pretty interesting information. All right. And it's also really telling, I think, Brian Kohberger, as we sort of assumed a while ago, that absolutely he noticed that the DoorDash delivery driver was there, and that's what changed some of his driving. And I think that's why he did the 3-point turn behind 500 Queen Road and then did a U-turn at Queen and King, is because he wanted to double check on the activities in that house because of the DoorDash delivery. He wasn't certain what was going on, and he got kind of frantic. That's why he I think it's very, very telling right here when he drove by here at 3:59 and 5 seconds or so, right as the DoorDash delivery is being placed here. All right, let's just take a look at that one last time. And we go up here to 3:59:04. Headlights are seen traveling south on Walenta Drive. So right when he's right there driving, the DoorDash delivery is made, perhaps on the back porch, 4 seconds prior to that. So that means when he was here, I think, given this information, if the DoorDash was placed on this back platform, that means the DoorDash driver was here at about 3:58:30 or earlier. That means when Kohberger drove back here at 3:58:23, he was just pulling away. I think they either passed each other or he saw the car parked there. And then he came back up like this, slowly, looking, waiting. He saw that vehicle here. Then he turns around, drives this direction at 4 o'clock, and in 14 seconds he's going back this way. That means he quickly turned around and came back, and he saw that the vehicle was still there. And I think that's very possible. And maybe even the vehicle was driving like this and he didn't want to see it, so he drove all the way back around, a deviation from his normal route, and that absolutely cost him, because that is the route that shows that Bryan Kohberger does not have a front license plate. Isn't that amazing that the DoorDash delivery is responsible for creating one of the known images of the white Elantra missing its front license plate and caused him to drive around a different way? I think it absolutely is the case that Bryan Kohberger saw the DoorDash driver. And it looks like the delivery was made to the back porch. If we put back in, let me just fix that and make that the 8 that it looks like it is. And that is where the DoorDash delivery likely was made. All right, everybody. Thank you all very much for watching. That was very interesting how that developed right there. During the recording of this, I went and checked that exhibit, and the coordinates are in there, and it shows where the delivery was made. I think when they place the item down, they take a photograph. The GPS coordinates are put on the order, and it was placed right there on the back porch. That's if it's an 8 after 721. You can see it on the screen right here. 721, and it looks like an 8. That was my first instinct, to just type in an 8, and then 030 or 33. Those minute numbers don't make much of a difference at the end there, but that 8 does make a difference. If it's a 9, it's at the front, and 8, it's at the back porch. So that definitely opens up the door, and if it's at the back porch, that means he parked and would have taken some time to actually walk back to the back of the house, making it very possible that Kohberger ran into the DoorDash delivery driver, meaning he passed him or could see that he was there right as he was in the immediate area, not just on Walenta Drive. I think he continued to watch on Walenta Drive. Then he did his U-turn after perhaps he saw that the vehicle had left, but he drove by and looked again to just kind of make sure, and then he drove around that back way, and that's what led to the photograph of the missing front license plate. All right, now I am working on the animated version of route number 3, which is really complex, and there's a lot of different motions and movements of the vehicle. So I'll probably put part 3, pass 3, out by itself, and then I'll incorporate just prior to pass number 4, which has this DoorDash information, in the third video. All right, but it's taking a long time to render these frames. It takes 4 seconds of frame to render, and there are literally 33,000 frames, and I'm using 2 different computers. That's why you hear the humming or the sound in the background, because I'm using a laptop and the fan's just blaring, away in the background because it's trying to cool down that laptop. That it is getting 4 frames a second over there as well. All right, well, thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. But I think this information here might change the way people think about what was actually going on. So again, thanks for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.